It was like accidental. He was searching for auto pie deceptive
crust.
Well done.
Thank you for saving that.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Autopod Decepticast. This is your weekly podcast, and if you didn't know it, we're delivering a minute-by-minute breakdown of the 1986 Transformers movie. And this is episode 46. We have acknowledged that we're way past the halfway point.
Way past?
One or two past.
A little bit past. It's
85. What's 85 divided by 2? Calculator.
42.5.
No, 42.
So consider 3 episodes. We kind of.
I can't believe I
paying
can do that
attention.
in my head.
Good
What do you
job.
Just take 84.
American education. Most people probably could do it, but
I can't believe I divided a number.
I am terrible. I
in
can't do.
twain.
He split Robin's arrow in twain. Who are we?
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
No, I meant.
No, let him.
You have to introduce
Do you have a bit?
Guys,
Yeah.
All right,
bit.
he's got it.
if I were in a ship crushed by a giant lobster claw and flung towards a strange malignantly shaped planet.
Malignant?
Malignantly shaped planet.
Okay.
That means cancerous.
Like not malignant.
Like malignant?
If I were to be in a ship crushed by a giant lobster claw and flung towards a strange malignantly shaped planet, there are no two people I'd want with me more than these gentlemen.
Oh, that's sweet.
Thank you.
I'm Ryan, and I don't want to be there.
And I'm Caleb, and you can just go fuck yourself.
Okay, great.
I don't know what to say. That went.
Another great APDC intro.
Yes.
How about them?
In the long string of ridiculous introductions.
How about them improv skills?
Last episode, after tricking Galvatron into thinking he's murdered all the Autobots, Ultra Magnus and his crew regroup and decide to land, rest, and repair. And they find a place to do so.
The planet,
Not yet.
The planet of junk.
Well,
They're
they
headed there.
ID'd it. They found it. They aren't there
The
yet.
planet of junk is in this vicinity.
And as we open up this minute, and that was a perfect ending, by the
Yep.
way, last time around. We ended right as it faded. I love those moments.
Yeah.
We've had very few. I'm trying to recall the ones
There's
we
a
had.
lot, actually. It's
Yeah,
almost like
it's-
it was tailor-made for this format.
Yeah.
Thank you, Flint Dilly, for the rewrites to make this possible.
He anticipated podcasts and that 3 gentlemen who have nothing better to do would create a podcast doing a minute-by-minute breakdown.
I can't remember the name of the guy who did anticipate podcasts, wrote it on a piece of paper, submitted a patent, and then sued every podcast that existed of note
I
after
don't remember.
That
I
fucking
don't know.
troll.
There's a major patent troll that basically wrote on a piece of paper. In the future, there's going to be a way for people to access audio recordings remotely anytime they want. Give me all your money.
I remember that was a big deal. I don't know whatever happened to that, but
Yeah, because
I haven't heard anything
everybody
about it.
knows how much podcasters make.
We're about to be sued. Sorry, I brought it up. So, as this thing kicks off on time, I mean, we kick off with hard rock.
We're coming in hot.
And we open up really with a landscape that's kind of watery. It's surreal. Dare I say Picasso by way of Salvador Dali?
Yeah.
A little bit, and it's very like it's going for that heavy metal genre of
true.
animation.
The movie you're talking about?
I don't know. I mean, there's the heavy metal movie, but it was a comic book.
I didn't know
series,
that.
Right?
I didn't know that either.
Oh, for Christ!
Bringing out the
Caleb's
iPhone.
grabbing his phone. Expect not to hear from him for minutes.
He has research to do, finally. We're gonna. You do all your research while we record
On the fly.
How was I to know that I was going to talk about heavy metal?
well, that's okay.
Magazine.
No, I'm not really making fun of you. Yes, I am.
It was a magazine, or it is a magazine.
Right, and then turned into a movie. I mean, we know it was a movie.
It was a movie. There was a.
I think there were
also,
aspects of
It had
content in the magazine that they ended up turning into a movie.
Gotcha. Maybe the best stories. Was it an anthology of sorts?
It was.
Just like Garfield, His 9 Lives.
That was a weird book.
That was like
And a weird cartoon.
That was like for adults. There were bad words.
Yeah, I mean, that was weird. Like,
and titties.
and death.
I don't think you saw nips.
Well, I did.
There was like
I drew 'em in.
Viking boobs or something.
Yeah,
I'm trying to remember.
yeah.
Like, there was some
Like,
risque
The Viking one was,
content.
I think, my favorite of the illustrations. But yeah, it was. Listeners, go check out Garfield 9 Lives. It's fucking strange.
Or don't.
Or don't if you don't care about Garfield, because who doesn't at this day and age? Is that still going on?
Garfield, to our international... Garfield, I feel like, was probably a worldwide phenomenon.
I think
Not
so.
just a United States phenomenon. But as a kid growing up in the early 80s, I mean, nobody had a bigger hold on pop culture than Garfield.
Maybe Charlie Brown.
No way, man. Garfield was like the new Charlie Brown.
The new
was-
Charlie Brown.
Charlie Brown was the old.
We're gonna put that on a T-shirt. Garfield was the new Charlie Brown.
In a sense, he was.
Yeah. No, I mean, he hated Mondays and spiders and normal.
I would like to go back and reread his 9 Lives.
I think I have it somewhere.
But it was weird.
It was real
It strikes
weird.
me as being like.
Oh, there was... Oh, so I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kelly.
No. It was fine. I was just saying it just took me when I read it. It took me by surprise that it wasn't. It was definitely more grown up.
Yeah, it's not like a comic strip. It's like a graphic novel, really.
Right.
I mean,
why did they do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, who is that for? I mean, obviously we bought it, so it was...
Well, I collected all the Garfield books at that point in
They
time.
were
Which
all
that was also
And
a
treasuries.
weird format because they were in a strange shape of like a rectangle. And but I remember there was the weirdest story to me whenever I was a kid in the Garfield 9 Lives was the one where he's in like a science laboratory and he's a test
He
animal.
escaped.
That's fucking dark. Yeah.
So they eventually animated Garfield His 9 Lives and turned it into like a 1-hour television special, but they took out some of the darker ones and added some, like there was one that wasn't in the book where he was a cat in Egypt and a pharaoh adopted him and he got buried in a pyramid and that wasn't in the book but it was in the television show and there was I always liked the one that was very sci-fi. There was kind of like a... Which, by the way, to regroup on something we talked about earlier, I finally saw 2001: A Space Odyssey last weekend. I forced Melody to watch it.
Fucking boring as shit.
That's how she would characterize it. But there is a sort of 2001: A Space Odyssey-esque. That was his 9th life. And he got, I believe, cloned or something. I can't quite remember.
Something, yeah.
But just to put a pin in that movie, I've since then done so much Wikipedia 2001 research.
So you like 2001, Aaron?
I thought it was amazingly. I mean, I can get how somebody could say it's. I mean, it's a lot of listening to sound effects and a lot of, especially when an alarm's going off and it's like 8 minutes of beamer, beamer.
It just moves at a okay. Here's my thoughts on it. I feel the same way. All right, I want to murder you right now. I feel the same way about it that I feel about Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the first one. It's a lot of like, oh, hey, we have all this new technology and we can show stuff that's really cool and like a lot of porn of the ship and like of like the galaxy and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, I guess at the time, but now it's like, fuck, this is cripplingly, glacially boring.
I will strongly disagree with that. I like the visual porn. I like the cinematography and. But it really engages me. I really enjoy it.
I liked it. I thought, I mean, I can understand why people who have less than average intelligence.
All right. I see what's happening
joking.
here.
Ryan, the problem is right. You just weren't.
You're
high,
a stupid
you just
dummy.
You weren't just high. You just weren't high enough when you watched it.
Don't get me wrong. There's probably, I mean, obviously there's maybe there's a level of pretension, or maybe not. I mean, he's just an artist. It's an art film.
Yeah,
it's not
being
Kubrick, of course. But I mean, the work that went into it and when I watched it, it was amazing. It was in high def. I don't know how they translated it from film to digital or whatever. I watched it on cable. It was on I can't remember if it was on AMC or Turner Classic Movies or one of those things. So at any rate, but never seen it before. It is long and it feels slow, and there's like maybe like 100 lines of dialogue.
Oh
in it.
yeah,
I love
it's
dialogue.
just all silence.
But I mean, that was the point. I mean, he did it that way for a reason. I mean, he wanted the story to be kind of told in a different kind of way. He didn't want necessarily characters to exchange words to tell the story.
He captures the loneliness
Right.
of the human condition very well, let alone those guys floating around in space out there.
I will say, look, I will say I agree. It's an amazing film. It's beautifully shot. It's like, I agree that it's a great movie, and it's like, one that stands the test of time, and it is a hallmark, but I just don't want to fucking watch that.
I understand. I can get behind
So
that.
Melody was falling asleep while we were watching it because it is the way it is. And there are several scenes with long, piercing noises that last forever.
Yeah.
And she would just keep waking up during those scenes and be like, what the fuck are we watching?
Well, the scoring, one of the composers for part of it, he wrote these atonal compositions where he just have people holding lines and then have someone come in that's like a half pitch. And what he's doing, he's just creating dissonance.
What could be the least thing that you'd want to listen to? Let's make that.
But if you think about it, though, that's kind of a
about
genius.
I wrote a paper about it in college.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Well, tell me if this lines up with your paper. I think it's kind of genius to do that to contrast, like the juxtaposition of that versus all the moments of quiet, and the stretches of quiet and the stretches of just visual scenes where nobody is, I mean, they're doing stuff, but you can't hear it or whatever. It's accent. But it can, I mean, it is jarring, but it's supposed to be. And sorry, we went off on this tangent, but I haven't seen the second movie, which apparently...
Oh, God.
Is
it's
it not
so
good?
much worse.
I heard it's not bad.
It's not bad, but it's a completely different... It's not.
Well, they made it
director.
more... It was a little bit more commercial. It is a different director. I heard that
completely
Kubrick
different.
did give permission for that director to do it, and I also didn't know that... what's the author that Stanley collaborated with? Full name?
Arthur C. Clarke.
Arthur C. Clarke. So I didn't realize that book was written basically in tandem with the movie production. I always assumed in my head that Stanley Kubrick adapted it, but it was written together, and then Arthur C. Clarke continued to write novels after. And there's like 4 novels. And
I like a lot of his books.
In terms of like world building, just because I've been on Wikipedia, I haven't read the novels, but I know everything that happens in the novels now. Like, it's amazing. It's really cool world building.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's great sci-fi. It's just... there's a lot of shorthand nowadays where it's like you don't need, like older movies where they open up and it's just you see just like names. It's just the credits of the opening credits. I'm like, we can really shortcut this. Like, you can show the credits
didn't
over
want to,
actual
though.
movie. I know. I'm just saying that nowadays a modern audience it's harder to get into because we have the shorthand of like, oh, we know what this is.
And we lack the attention spans that people used to have.
But I genuinely
But
do
Gravity is an attention span begging. Like, have you guys seen Gravity?
Yeah.
That's, I think, in the tradition of 2001: A Space Odyssey, with a lot, with probably more thrilling moments, probably more dialogue. Maybe, I don't know, it's more compelling. Like, it's definitely not. Like, I could see how you could get lost in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Gravity, I could see how you get lost in that, but not as badly.
Well, like
Or
Gravity,
just get distracted.
and that's what I'm talking about. I think people who say that their attention spans are shorter, I think that you're dismissing the fact that it's not necessarily. Yes, our attention spans may be shorter, but it's not even that. It's the fact that we have shorthand now. We understand this media, so you don't have to do this.
It's just evolution
No, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
of art
And now,
entertainment.
to the fact of like the repetitive sounds. And this, Caleb, is why I get so annoyed when you send GIFs.
Oh, well, I do that just to antagonize you.
Yeah,
So that's
you're
true.
just a person that doesn't like GIFs. GIFs are shorthand, are communication shorthand for the world nowadays. You just don't like GIFs. That's you, not him.
No, I think that GIFs are getting out of control. I don't necessarily like them. In the case of Ryan, I can't wait to load up his phone with
I just
GIFs.
go through and delete them.
Yeah.
But like, here's my thing. And
To the listener who does not care about this conversation at all, we have a thing where we like to send GIFs to. We got our email chain, our 3-way text chain. And I love GIFs myself.
Here's
I'll
my
send them,
problem.
and every time a GIF comes up, Ryan has to mention he hates GIFs.
I do, because like, I know, granted, this is just like a proclivity of mine that I have a problem with. It's just like repetitive things make me so anxious and annoyed, and so something that repeats, it just makes me angry.
Yeah, but you can move on from it. You don't have to watch it in perpetuity.
I do if I'm going to respond, because it's still there on the screen. And so, to your point, Aaron, where you're talking about the repetitive noises and
I see.
Yeah,
That's
so
fair. Fair enough.
And it's the reason why a lot of music, I'm like, I can't.
Visual version of that.
Yes.
The atonal music, real quick. We should probably post this on
Sure.
Hungarian composer Gheorghe Ligeti. The song that I'm talking about, and part of it is called Atmospheres. Here's Atmospheres. I don't see, Ryan, why you don't.
Okay.
Why you can't find an appreciation for this while watching a movie that has very little activity going on it.
It's like a cat just sat on a keyboard. Oh my god.
This is 8 minutes long. Here, let me
Oh my god.
fast forward a little bit for you here.
This feels like
Ugh.
this feels like in that movie with Clive Owen.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. All right.
That feels like in that movie with Clive Owen and that I like so much that I can't remember
Children
the name
of Men?
Children of Men. That feels like the music that the character played by Michael Caine was listening to whenever they get to his house.
Oh, no.
I think that was a little more poppy.
He
Never
makes
mind.
a reference to like some new genre of music that's available in the future, and then they kind of do something.
I forgot about Michael Caine is in that movie. You bring that movie up so much,
It's a
Aaron.
great movie.
You love that movie.
Michael Caine, I did read somewhere that Michael Caine's character in that movie is inspired by If John Lennon Had Lived.
I can see that.
So we are in the first second of this scene.
All right, we've made it. We're on Quintessa.
This is, by the way, one of, if not my number one favorite animated sequences of the movie.
Absolutely.
We sink into the ocean. These fish characters, they're
These
like
metallic
little
fish.
piranhas, and the little fish characters, they're such cool designs. I never noticed before as we get to 4508 to probably about 4511 that there's sort of like a Mario pipe thing that's alive, and it jumps up and grabs a fish and eats it.
I didn't
never noticed that before.
Yeah, it's at 4510, and it's like just a butthole that eats a fish.
But the drawings are great. There's robotic seaweed, bamboo, coral, barnacles. The guys, this place seems dangerous.
Yeah, it's an orgy of life and death.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this later on, but this is like, I think, the turning point where Hot Rod actually starts to do things.
Oh, sure. I get that.
Like, he actually I think this is where it turns around from him just being a passive person who's making terrible decisions. I genuinely also do believe he's always making decisions based on he wants to help people and wants the best. It's just he's young and stupid. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think this is where he actually starts to make good decisions and make, actually helps shit.
Well, he shoots from the hip. Mm-hmm. And a lot of leaders will say you have to trust your gut. I mean, you kind of have to. You can't mull about things for very long. It just so happens that because he's immature that maybe his decisions aren't so great.
Yeah.
But he at least he has some kind of instinct to help people. I guess.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. I think through the whole movie, he always does want to protect people, like Daniel, even though he puts him in danger.
Right.
But
he also caused Optimus Prime to die.
Exactly. Then that's a big negative. That's one in the loss column.
So in this sequence, as we continue to kind of pan on the landscape, which looks amazing. Also, I have to agree with Caleb that I love the stuff that is off Earth because it honestly gives the writers, the artists, everybody a chance to be really creative
Mm-hmm.
and build the world, and invent the universe, and I don't even think the best parts, the most visually compelling parts have happened yet. I mean, we were introduced to these crazy robotic fish, but so Hot Rod's being strangled, or at least
he's caught in some metallic seaweed.
Correct.
Is what I would describe it.
Correct, and whatever you'd call them, robotic piranhas are kind of converging upon him. And this is where we see a new talent of his, but we've seen him have his he can shoot lasers out of his arm sides, his little exhausts. He has his visor. And now he also apparently has a buzzsaw that he can retract his hand and come out and
buzzsaw out of his
buzzing.
left hand, which is very Optimus Prime Energon axe.
Yeah, that's true. But I wish it was an Energon buzzsaw instead of a literal buzzsaw.
But it's just an actual buzz. But it's again one of those one-offs where like Ratchet has the little like welding tool that comes out of his hand.
Right.
And
you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, and then earlier in the movie where Springer has the little flip-up cannon that comes out of his arm.
We talked about this before. I can't remember if this is related to the conversation about how you have to think to transform.
Yes.
Do you just have to think, I want a buzzsaw in my hand, and it just happens? Or does he literally just have a buzzsaw sort of in there and it retracts in this universe? And
I've actually delved way too far into this to like the detriment of my life, I'm sure, of like learning how Transformers transform and why. And yes, there's a mental component to it. But yeah, I think that you would have to have that buzzsaw come out there, because it's not that complex a machine, but like there's a lot of moving parts and shit. I think he would have had to have developed it. It's kind of like yoga, where you meditate and create a state that like you can get into easier if you've done it before. Where it's
you don't just go to like a mod shop and be like, hey, I want a buzzsaw hand.
Because it doesn't make any sense. Like, where is that located? I don't know.
Well, I assume that it doesn't, like, the diameter of the buzzsaw doesn't look like it could fit inside his handhold.
No.
Well, but you're seeing it spinning, but if you pause it earlier, it's just a single blade. Like, it's just yeah, it's a... That was fun.
That was fun. So Hot Rod does some slicing and dicing, chops up some piranhas, chops up some vines. He is cutting himself free here. But something that cracked me up is that whenever he cuts through it, it's a bullet, like an old Western style bullet ricochet sound effect. It's like,
oh yeah.
And it made me think of Silver Dollar City, and it made me think of that ride that you go
love
on
that ride.
with you've got a gun, you're
flooded mine.
Through. It's called the Flooded Mine now. For a while, it was called like the Last Showdown or something, and then before that, it was something else. But
for those of you who've not been to Silver Dollar City, the Flooded Mine is basically a live-action NES game where you are shooting targets, and at the end you get a
everything.
score.
And every time you hit a target, you hear the sound effect.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what that sounded like.
It's my favorite.
It's what I feel like they copied the sound effects from this movie and pasted them into that amusement park ride.
Absolutely.
So Hot Rod cuts himself free. He hears Cup yelling for help. He looks around a little bit. He's like, where is that coming from? And he swims a little bit, but then he ultimately transforms.
Okay, yeah. 45-44, he transforms into a car, which is like fucking finally. I say this time and time again. I'm like, you're a car. Be a car. You can move so much faster in Hot Rod finally.
Especially underwater. Cars drive well underwater, right?
It's proven by science.
His engine cannot be flooded with water. He's all-terrain vehicle. Yeah.
But yeah, to your point, yes, he's trying to actually utilize his ability to transform to
do something.
So this is the part where I never really paid attention before, but I get enamored with the backgrounds. Like all of the seaweed
painting is great.
Corally sort of like all this shit that's just floating up and the spiky nodules of whatever the fuck.
I guess Florodary is finally getting his
due. He's getting his due. It's like, yeah, you guys are gonna enjoy my crazy ass design.
It looks so awesome.
Yeah. It's great.
And when he transforms back into the water, I mean, just the
bubbles, the sort of like
the foamy,
walking through water motion graphics.
It's a good call.
Another reason why it's one of my favorites. And then he finally comes across Cup, who unfortunately is being
torn apart
by a giant metallic squid. And there's a few pieces of seaweed and coral. I keep going back to it. This the way everything just kind of drifts
It's
upward.
very pretty.
It's cool.
So Cup is being manhandled, and Hot Rod approaches the squid, aims his arm cannon, and concentrates a blast. It startles the beast. It causes Cup to kind of get flung to the ground there. That's basically where this thing ends.
Yeah, we end with him shooting it, and again, like, actually utilizing his arm cannons, which is something I don't think we ever see in the show.
So Hot Rod finally is making some sort of good decision.
Well, and again, this is like where I start to like him. This is where it turns.
Well, here's the deal. He does have a heroic quality to him.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that his immature quality
Gets in the way.
outweighs his heroic quality.
Yeah.
And he's always going to be this person that does this thing. He's never going to step away from danger.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just nice to see it actually pay off.
Yeah, or to work. Yeah, like he starts. And again, I think it's the difference between, like, before, he always had the heroic aspect and, like, he wants to do good and just wants to help people. This is where I think, like, his mental, like, maybe, make some good decisions starts to happen.
Right. So, what an exciting minute. Here's the thing
Absolutely.
I would like to see a third-party company do is make those piranhas and make this squid thing.
I was going to ask you, Aaron, if any of the Hot Rod or Rodimus toys have the buzzsaw feature.
Actually, yes, I think all of them do. There's an old Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime. I can't remember what MP number it is. It's a like maybe MP8 or something like that. And I don't know the MP number for this guy. However, there is an attachment to this one, and this is the newer Masterpiece Hot Rod. You can flip his hand around and put a blade on it,
Oh.
and the original one, which is taller and also turns into Rodimus Prime and has a trailer and all that shit, also has a blade. So yes, blade is a thing.
Okay.
Hey, I don't have any voice actors, but I do want to talk for a second or two about Specter General.
Yeah.
It sounds like Ryan and I both did
Okay.
some research.
I have no
Maybe,
idea.
You probably have more.
maybe we
Go
can
ahead.
do a back and forth. We can bat it.
Back it up
forth.
and back it out.
Right. So Specter General has 2 songs on this movie soundtrack. There's but we're gonna spend our time with Nothing's Gonna Stand in Our Way.
That's right.
There's another one coming up later. So Ryan, I'm gonna assume that you know that Specter General is not the real name of this band.
It's true. For some reason that I could not locate online, why they call themselves Specter General, because they're known as Kick-Axe, A-X-E.
in Canada.
I mean, these are both great names, but, like, why?
They are both awesome names.
Yeah.
Specter General should be a
Why
band
would they
name.
have a different name for for on the movie?
Great question.
I found a couple different reasons, but nothing official. So these guys formed in 1976. They're kind of like a biker band, like a biker festival mainstay in Canada through the mid-late 70s into the 80s when this movie was made. And another slightly interesting thing about this thing, they've never really had a steady frontman. They've always been...
it's real random.
They've always, like, I think 2 brothers formed the band and maybe, like, flipped off back and forth as frontmen, but then they both left the band. They were always kind of doing, I think they were fairly well known in Canada and almost did sort of American Idol style, like, looking for a frontman style contests. But
Kind of like Menudo.
yeah, really, honestly. And Canadia's Menudo.
Canadia's Menudo.
But they had a minor hit in the song Heavy Metal Shuffle. Maybe we put that out there for the listeners. But as far as the name change, I've read a couple things. I've read 3 things. I've read that nobody knows why they changed their name. I've also read that legal complications are the reason they changed their name, maybe presumably because of different lead singers and all that, like that whole struggle. And I've also read that they were forced to change their name for this movie because they felt that the name Kick-Axe was too harsh for the children that would be watching this movie, despite the fact that they say shit in this movie and damn it in this movie.
And murder Optimus Prime.
And never once
Yeah,
were they
right,
actually...
right.
In order for the kid to find out...
Yeah, how would he know?
The band for
Right.
this seems
I'm reading all the credits, Mom and Dad.
That's pretty deep, yeah.
And that is the one thing that will send Mom and Dad over the top. What? Kick-Axe? At any rate, the song Nothing's Gonna Stand in Our Way is actually a cover song.
I did not know that.
Who is the original?
If anybody is familiar with this, you may be, Caleb.
Okay. All right.
It's
Try me out here.
English-born Australian.
Hold on, give me some. Let me see if I can guess.
You're not going to know who it is. I'm almost sure.
English-born,
I didn't.
Australian...
Pop rock guy. His name is John Farnham.
No.
Well, he is a big deal. He had lots of hits. I was not familiar with him, though. But so this song is a cover of, and I listened to his version of the song on YouTube, and it's not that. It's more of that sort of Cars pop rock sort of ilk. This is more hinges on the metal pop side of things, but
So
they're not that different of a version.
So we've got another Australian artist directly in kind of.
Shall we do the national anthem?
I mean,
but I
3
did,
weeks in a row
I
we
did-
talk about fucking Australia.
I did leave.
You've had your time, Australia.
I left a huge Australian band off last week, the Bee Gees.
Oh my God!
So anyway, let's just leave that there.
I always thought the Bee Gees were from the
British.
UK.
No,
Yeah, me too.
they are Australian.
Oh, I apologize, Australia.
Yeah.
This John Farnham, it was actually written and performed for a different movie, 1984. Ryan, I'm curious if you would know this.
Okay.
It's a Linda Blair movie. How up are you on Linda Blair movies?
I do love Linda Blair.
The movie is called Savage Streets. Have you seen this?
I have not seen this movie.
We should watch it together. It looks awesomely bad. It's basically the premise is Linda Blair's sister is deaf and mute and gets kidnapped and raped by some sort of
It sounds great.
punk gang.
Okay.
And Linda Blair, who's kind of a badass chick, and her friends get revenge on that gang for that happening. And
Wow.
this song, so the song "No, That's Gonna Stand Out Our Way" is sort of a thematic song of that movie. And this is a cover.
Well,
of
we should.
that
Yeah, I'm
song.
very into that.
Wow.
We should. Well, when we're done here, let's watch a preview before we stop.
Okay.
It looks really amazing. It looks bad.
I'm very
as
into
fuck.
that. I love Linda Blair.
Lyrically, the song, it's so very like, we're young, we're awesome, we rule. If you were to take the lyrics to this song and rewrite it, you'd have the perfect emo song. If you just did opposite day version of this song, it's emo town.
Nice. Yeah, and the other song they do, I believe, is "Hunger" during the Sharktacon.
Coming up.
The Sharktacon scene,
Before
which
long.
is coming up also on.
Have those guys ever played any cons?
I didn't see any evidence that they've
I
played
didn't either.
cons. I have seen evidence that they've gone through, various turmoil. They tour Canada all the time. I think they eventually did find a lead singer that they felt was worth their musical
It really
chops
is a rotating cast.
by the name of George Kristen. But I don't think he's touring with them now. In fact, I think maybe the original brothers are touring. But anyway, they're a Canadian act. They will play. They think they still play like festivals and stuff like that.
Okay.
So they are still active. They're not putting out albums. I think they stopped putting out albums, as far as I know, in the like late 80s. But
We'll add that to the list of people that we will say we're going to try to get on the show and we'll never do.
we're too busy with our lives and making this show to ask people to be
It's
on the show.
unfortunate we're so busy and successful in our normal lives that we spend hours a week. Well, with the
I'm
exception of
pretty
Caleb.
fucking busy in my personal
All
life.
right. I mean,
Thanks for being here, Caleb.
You're welcome.
Generally after we talk about these kind of things, we kind of move into
what?
Deviations. The average listener will know that my script deviations tend to be more mellow because my script is closer to what was on film, and Ryan has a version of the script that is early and generally has a lot of crazy shit in it. And I'm gonna do mine first because it's fun to hear the slight twists and turns, and then hear the crazy twists and turns that the earlier versions of the script. So you'll remember from mine the last time we saw Cup and Hot Rod, which this was a big turn. There was a giant metallic claw that kind of grabbed and crushed the ship. And this scene in my script opens up with a small falling object. And you ultimately find out that's Hot Rod. And he keeps falling down, down, down. He plummets through the atmosphere, falls past, quote, shiny rock pinnacles of unusual construction into what is called a silvery energy sea. And he splashes into it. As he sinks, he collides with a reef, so he bounces down among that. And he gets up. He immediately transforms. He tries calling to his team through his intercom, and he rounds a corner and finds what is called in the script a robotoid squid that is tearing Cup to pieces. So, as opposed to a ship crashing, which you couldn't do that because it's a different parallel universe, he got crushed by the claw, flung, I guess, into the planet's atmosphere, splashed through the water, and went looking for his people.
Why didn't he splash into ball-bearing sea?
That's right.
Ball-bearing water.
Was that the description of
Energy
Cybertron
liquid.
or something? I don't remember.
This works much
No,
better.
that was the description of Unicron, like Ingester, the planet.
Yeah,
That's what it
this
was.
works much better.
In mine, on the last one, we cut from Blaster and Sunstreaker and Wheeljack, who are...
Those guys.
Yeah, they are
Jesus Christ.
insurgents on Earth.
Okay.
Now we go back to deep space. A shot that features a new planet of an odd, distorted shape and color. Something like a huge Baroque pearl, which wobbles on its rotation in an atmosphere of nacreous gases, which I
How
had
can
to...
a pearl be anything other than a pearl? How can a pearl be Baroque?
Well, if it's like run out of money. Thank you.
The auto pun deceptors.
That is an interesting description, a Baroque pearl. I mean, I understand the Baroque style, but then I guess... Well, no, I get it.
You just drew
No. The
Joker symbols.
The
all over.
planet's the shape of a sphere, so he's, I guess he didn't want to call it a Baroque-styled planet. He just calls it like a Baroque pearl, and it kind of makes it sound more pretentious and...
Well, then he
wasted too
doubles
much
down
time on this.
also by
great.
saying that it has an atmosphere of nacreous gases, which I had to look up that word.
Nacreous?
It means mother of pearl, or incandescent.
I think he's
Double pearls?
I think
Yes.
he's going for color.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
going for visualization. Yeah.
This is the planet Quintesson, which is what they call it in my script, and it should be completely distinct in appearance, so it cannot be mistaken for the larger planet toward which Ultra Magnus is now heading.
Is it Quintesson or Quintesson?
in the movie, Quintesson.
In the show, it's called Quintessa.
Quintessa. Okay.
I believe
But it
that's
doesn't
right, isn't it?
exist. I think they blow it up in Five Faces of
Yes.
Darkness. But anyway.
Okay.
A small falling object appears high above Quintesson and hurtles down, down, down until it's in view and we see it is Hot Rod, just like your
Sounds
script, Aaron.
familiar.
Alignment.
And then toward the planet, trying to change the angle of his fall, regain his bodily control as we move down with him. Hot Rod says, "I'm getting space sick." Oh! As Hot Rod plummets down through layers of atmosphere and continues to fall, we track him all the way down and move alongside with him as he falls past shiny rock pinnacles of unusual construction
This
and
sounds
bizarre landscape careening
very
wildly.
familiar.
Then we change on
Does it
the...
say Dolly meets,
Picasso?
It does not. It does not. Is that what yours says?
No, I said that.
Oh,
let's see
you're...
if it
Me. Me. Stop.
Is that Starscream making an appearance? Making
Hello.
a
Bye,
cameo?
everybody. I'm done now. See you later.
Wow, weird. Oh man, he comes and goes. All right, basically, Hot Rod
that was fun.
Yeah, Hot Rod falls into a sea. He sinks to the bottom where he collides with a high-tech metallic structured sort of reef, like you said, Aaron, and then transforms into his auto mode, modified for undersea action.
Oh, didn't get any of that on screen or in my script.
Which is weird. And also before that, he says he generates a glass bubble headpiece and takes a huge breath, which I'm like, he has to breathe now?
That's kind of like, there was an episode of the original G1 cartoon, I don't remember if it was season 1 or season 2, but Hound goes underwater and creates glass screen over his face, presumably for breathing and or clear
So
sight.
stupid.
Yeah, pretty dumb.
They got rid of it.
I mean, also, and this is like way late, but I've seen people who are like memes and stuff of like when Galvatron chokes Hot Rod, they're in space. Why would Hot Rod need to breathe?
Right.
I always took it as more of like he's compressing like some fluids that he needs.
Ripping his head off,
Why
perhaps.
why would any of the Transformers feel pain in the first place?
Excellent question.
So
Just
or
just
have
like
it.
us, why would we feel pain? We don't have to. It's just a signal. It's
It's
just
a
a signal to say this shouldn't be happening.
It's a
Well, true.
It's a reflex.
Well, it's
But
an evolutionary,
but the old
development.
But the Transformers, I mean, if
Why couldn't they have that too? It's just in
true.
their brain. This shouldn't be happening. Okay.
why could they turn
There
it
we go.
off?
Well, I mean, they're still
It's not about turning it off. It's about you got to know that it's happening
I wish I
to
could.
react properly.
Yeah, they're still just
Caleb,
they're
you're
still-
fired.
I wish I could turn off the pain.
They're still okay. Moving on. The Robotoid squid is tearing Cup to pieces, removing arms, legs, feet, a hand, which is a weird note. A hand, yes, and tossing them across the ocean floor. I don't know why he wouldn't be eating them. Like, why does he need to tear them
He's
apart?
just there to be. He's just a big destructive baby squid.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to tease a little bit of the next episode because it's weird. But then we go on Hot Rod, and Hot Rod screams Cup. And then he uses his sidearm to blast the squid, which reacts by releasing a laser print ink stream, which boils out in the water in a series of dots and X shapes.
Yeah.
Dots and X. They're going digital.
Which, yeah,
Why wasn't it zeros and ones?
I don't know why it doesn't make
I mean,
any
if you're gonna
sense.
do that,
But that's where I'm going to stop.
That's really interesting.
all right. Well, a little preview of the next time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have one of those? Okay, we can.
I'm the ghost of the iconic moment.
You know?
I do actually have an iconic moment.
Oh my god, unprecedented.
I know.
Caleb.
I'm sorry, but I mean the opening shot of Quintessa is pretty badass.
It's pretty cool.
It's the color choice is great, and the design is well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
It definitely takes you out of what you've been in before.
Yeah.
Once you realize, I mean, if seeing the planet from 1,000 miles away from it wasn't enough to let you
Yeah.
understand this is a weird kind of place, that helps you get there.
It does.
All right. He's yawning.
Caleb's going to
I'm
sleep.
sorry. I took a flu shot
Ryan?
yesterday, and it's having adverse effects on me.
Don't vaccinate your kids. They'll get autism.
Oh.
I don't believe that. Let's not keep that going. My
It's,
iconic moment actually is whenever Hot Rod uses his arm cannons, because I just love it when their hardware is used. It annoys me that Ultra Magnus never uses his shoulder missiles. Mm-hmm. So anytime
He does use them in the storyboards.
yes, but not in the movie or the show.
Right. And never in the show?
I don't think so.
Ah, keep an eye out.
I may
for
be
that.
wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
As we
Listeners,
review season 3, our
That's
next
right.
project of the Transformers, the television show.
Listeners, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he does.
Okay.
Is he motivated to do anything at all other than just try not to be responsible for things?
He's way better in season 3 of the show
Ultra
because
Magnus, yeah.
he actually keeps Rodimus Prime from making bad decisions. He's actually a great leader in season 3.
Okay.
It's just here that he's just this neurotic sort of
And again,
second guessing and stressed out mess.
he's had the mantle of leadership for like 6 hours.
Right. Well, but again,
He's a city commander, I know.
So I would think that people who are trying to be the CEOs of companies have a good sense that
That's true.
that they're elevating to a level of leadership. And I would agree. It's like, well, with the exception of our current president, that
Well, he
most
can't
people
deal with that
understand. Well, it should but Barack Obama is like a better version of Hot Rod. He didn't quite have the experience, but he did have like the ability. Whereas you would argue maybe somebody like George W. Bush or we'll say Donald Trump maybe had experience for leadership, but not the ability. Like Donald Trump, he's been a CEO of his company forever. He's been the boss of people forever, but he's not really a leader.
No,
Let's
I
be
mean,
real.
essentially he just failed at everything and just kept getting bailed out.
He failed upward.
Yeah, he
Whereas-
failed upward, yeah.
I wonder where our political leanings lie.
I don't. It's a mystery.
I don't even think that's a matter of political leanings. That's just a
It's just
matter
history.
of fact.
Yes.
Like,
well,
for God's sakes.
we've learned that history or facts mean nothing. You can just create. He's doing chaos magic. I mean, whether or not he believes what he's saying, it's crazy because it's demonstrably untrue.
So, my iconic moment is the reveal of the giant squid with Cup. Like, for whatever reason, even though my memory of this being an awesome character design is way better than what it really. It's actually not that cool looking of a squid, but but my memory of it was really cool. It stuck in my head. This part always meant something to me for some reason. Like I just always thought, and I still would like to see a third party company make a squid and a piranha while you're at it. They don't even have to transform; just be articulated.
Next time on the Autopod Decepticast.
So we are going to see the Robotoid Squid Rumble Ravage on.
Okay.
Word.
I just kind of pick and choose when I want to do like little alliterative things.
You pick and
It's
choose.
fun.
Onomatopoeia things. I don't. What's the difference between alliteration and onomatopoeia? Which one's consonants and which one's vowels?
Alliteration is consonants. Assonance is vowels.
Oh, assonance. What's onomatopoeia?
That is whenever it's like the sound is what the word is like
bang,
drip.
squish.
Smoosh.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Fart.
Jizz. That's what you guys' dick sounds like when it comes, right?
Yes.
Slap.
Cup is going to command cohesion of his ancillary appendages.
All right.
Like that? All right.
Yeah,
okay.
that was great.
Listen to us. Hey, if you didn't know it already, we're on iTunes, we're on Stitcher, we're on Google Play, we're on TuneIn, we're on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of them at APodDcast. And, of course, there's the web presence, autopoddecepticast.com. Ryan, what should be on there this
Absolutely.
time around?
There's going to be some Garfield 9 Lives stuff on there.
I forgot we even talked
Oh,
about
I know,
that.
it's been a long episode.
This episode in the past and I've just been a roller coaster.
Yeah, we've been all over the place. Maybe
Tangents.
some heavy metal stuff.
Yeah.
Heavy metal. Was that made for that movie?
I don't know.
Do you know that song?
No, I don't. I've seen the movie like once a long time ago, and I'm just
It's
more.
one of those things stoners are forced to watch in high school or early college.
No, they're forced to.
That is something that I don't know about. I don't know why. I've never heard of anybody being forced to watch heavy metal in high school.
It's just,
I feel like it is a rite of passage where you're like you're a pretend deep person where
Right.
you've watched heavy metal, or like Donnie Darko.
Thanks everybody for listening.
We've gone on too long.
I wish you could see Caleb slapping his palm into his forehead.
slap,
Just say,
slap.
That's onomatopoeia. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
This one, however, came with something the original did not, which is a fishing pole.
See, this is what I love about just fandom. The best parts of fandom is just people who genuinely love these things and then make it and are like, this is what I remember. This is like a treat for all you people who remember this as well.
I broke it. I just broke Masterpiece Hot Rod. I broke his
Visor.
Shit. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no.
Talk about the things you love while I sit here and stew in anger.
Well, there's a lot of negative aspects to fandom.
Take a picture of his broken brain.
But I love the idea of like people who genuinely enjoyed something as a kid and like they're now making it and like, hey, everybody who likes this, here's something that is made for you. That's a good part of fandom.
That broke so easily. I would just hesitate to even buy these things.
Oh no!
No, honestly, you're right though. That's the thing. You have no idea how many emails I write to companies because they forgot a ratchet. Like one leg has a ratchet and the other doesn't. And they obviously forgot it, and so I feel entitled that I spent this much money. I need that ratchet. Send me that ratchet. I'll put it in myself. I won't even trouble you. I'll take it apart, put the fucking ratchet in myself. But you forgot it. Give it to me. And now I've transformed this thing, this hot rod, Masterpiece Hot Rod, the official Masterpiece, not a knockoff, which does exist. I've transformed it once. It came in car mode. I transformed it to robot mode. His little shades just broke. It's honestly, it's an infuriating hobby in that way. There's always, they're intricate. They're intricate things. And frankly, at least I'm glad that I don't necessarily like that aspect of the toy, but it's a nice little bonus feature. And the fact that I just broke it does depress me.
Well,
but,
there's a two-part aspect to it.
Do you have any idea what my kids do to their toys. These
aren't
fuck them up.
child's toys.
Right, and that's what I was going to say, is there's a two-part aspect to it of, like, you want it to look cartoon accurate, and there's a delicate nature that comes along with that, you know.
Most people hate this design, actually. A lot of this is one of the more hated.
He's trying to justify it.
Well, no. This is one of the more hated masterpiece figures because of how spindly he looks. Most people feel like Hot Rod
I will
looks a
say
little
his
tougher
legs
than that.
look very thin.
And also his chest, the way it's sort of this flat, it's just this flat, like folded in kind of a paper feature. Like when you look at his chest on screen here, the original, in a lot of ways, the original masterpiece is a lot better, but they released this as kind of, because it's car robot sized. I honestly don't know. There were some quality control problems with the original masterpiece design. I don't know actually why what caused them to remake it.
Order some new shades for him.
But I don't know. So third-party companies are more forgiving and more willing, in my experience, to send you new items than Takara Tomy is. I don't know. What I might actually end up doing is ordering the knockoff of this, which will cost like $30. This probably costs $80. I'll order that and use this as a fun, like, now I can transform you because you're worthless.
I don't have to worry about it.
You're worthless.
You're bad and you should feel bad.
I can't believe those fucking shades just broke.
No one's ever going to know unless they look underneath this little head skull thing.
Well, unless I wanted to do like here's a moment from that part of the movie.
Remember,
I can't.
you did do a post of that for the eclipse.
I'm so mad about this.
All right, well, put it away.
I'm
and
not
let's
really
move
that
on.
mad. I'm not the most mad.
Yeah, he's not the most
But
mad.
that kind of shit happens.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I don't generally transform anything.
Yeah.
It's why these are basically transformable statues, is because I'm afraid to scratch paint. I'm afraid to break things. I'm a little heavy-handed when it comes to it. And these things can be tight. Like, there's things that you're supposed to move, and they're so goddamn tight. You put some force into it, and then you just overdo it just enough to move it from where it's supposed to move, but then break it.
Yeah, these aren't really toys. They are, like you said, moving statues that you don't really want to play with.
Some are better than others, and to be fair, the actual Takara Tomy official masterpieces tend to be better for multiple transformations than the third parties. The third parties tend to not be as high quality. Some of them are, like Fans Toys is a great example. They did all these Dinobots here. They did the Springer here. But Fans Toys is a good company for quality control. But this one right here,
not a sponsor.
X-Transbots, they're the worst. They are beautiful toys that will break if you look at them
So don't try to transform them.
But I will buy them all the time because they look amazing.
Sorry, dude.
Third-party companies will often beat Takara Tomy to the punch, and so now I have this thing and this thing, and you can decide which one you like better. This is Bad Cube's Sun Surge, and this is the official Takara Tomy masterpiece. Yeah, you would.
Oh
no, you should, and you should. I mean, I think there's things about it that are certainly better.
However,
it feels nicer. It feels a little more premium. I feel like it is a little bit more articulated. It has some cool features to it, and I think the face is more cartoon accurate. I think this is a comic, like a modern day comic book spin. Also, his eyes are too close together. But anyway, and he's got this cool gun.
I like the little pistol.
I do, and actually, you can store that pistol in his leg.
That's
so he has
sweet.
a little cool leg pistol storage, as everybody loves. But anyway, so these situations happen. This cost $90 when it was available first. I can't remember how much this was. Maybe $100 bucks, 110 maybe. But now if I want to sell this, it's gonna be like $50.
Sure.
Got to deal with it because this is out, man. Wrecked the market for this, but. Anyway,
that's your problem?
Which one? No, I mean, it's not really a problem.
What's
The
the
problem
mask?
is having to. I don't want this anymore, and now I got to sell it. It's like a whole. It's not just the $50. It's also the time to invest in it.
What's up with the mask? That weird.
Oh, this is a reference to an episode. Actually, several characters that I have, third party and otherwise, have a mask similar to this. There was an episode where I think that the Autobots became movie stars, and this guy and what's the green guy's name? Not Trailbreaker, but Trailbreaker's mold mate. Hoist. Or no, is that his name? Hoist, yeah.
I think you're right.
And also Powerglide, they were on a movie set and they were cast as aliens. And
Kapow!
They all had to wear that
Alien mask.
That mask, yes.
I get it.
But yeah, I think it is superior to the Sun Surge product, and it was fun to transform for sure. But it's gonna be a pain in the ass to sell this thing.
You don't. Well, you don't have to sell it.
I don't have to, but
You could just
Why
give
not?
It,
Yeah.
you could just give it to one of us. As a friend.
As a
now,
friend.
now you just made things uncomfortable.
I don't know if we've used the F word to relate to each other.
I also have 2 chip chases. And interestingly enough, I think the Bad Cube one is better. They both came with Chip Chase. I don't remember Chip Chase having a relationship with Sunstreaker,
I don't either. It was Prowl that he was.
but I have 2 Chip Chases.
Or was it? The Blue Streak?
Actually, okay,
I think it was Prowl.
I like the wheelchair better on the third-party Chip Chase, and the paint better. It looks like he's wearing a bomber jacket. But it also looks like he's wearing, what are those type of glasses called? Those type of aviators. It looks like he's wearing aviators here. Here, when you look up really close, it looks more, in the face, he looks more like the animation.
It looks like his eyes are just indented.
Anyway,
yeah.
2 chip chases, 2 CC. Which chip chase do you like better?
I like. Well, there's the articulation on the one on the left.
But I don't like the bomber jacket. I kind of like the plain jacket. I
I
don't know what's animation accurate, but
I don't remember. Yeah, I think the one on the right is more cartoon accurate.